Hi, it's Michael Ankra, founder of Harkna Education and author of Learning Naturally. Today I just thought I would do a very quick video after my workout on a topic that I've been making contributions about on social media. And I just like to put this context across to many people because if you are a black man or woman or an African living in the West or amongst predominantly white people, one of the challenges that you face is that to do with prejudice. Now, this is not the fault of the people because I always tell people that, when there is a group and then there is the other that comes in, there is a natural tendency for the human being to be suspicious, which is fair enough. Now, the challenge for us as Africans or black people is this, that we have not told our own story. And our stories have not been said by us, okay? And human beings, one of the things I believe is the fact that we are creatures of learning. We learn by default. Our behavior is never an accident, okay? So what the people that you meet in a society in which I live in, like in the UK, if you live among predominantly white people, what they know about you, their perception, their belief is largely based on their experiences. So, I work with a wonderful woman whose mom has a background which gives her a very different perception about people of my kind. But then others who have not had the privilege, for instance, of either traveling to Africa, traveling to Ghana, having an in-depth knowledge of who we are. Their main source of information really is what they see on the news or in the media. And generally, the information, what comes across about Africa is totally negative. I have been asked many times, whether, people still sleep on trees. It's a concept that is very foreign to many people. I mean, I don't think anybody in my generation have any idea of what that is about. But there are people who believe that Africans are that primitive. Okay, and so there are many perceptions that people in the West, the population, and we cannot blame them. People only take and work with the information that they have. So, those in the West, in America, in Europe, in Great Britain, only go by what they know about the black man or the black woman or the African. So recently, when there was this uproar about an interview that a young lady who happened to be a model and an actress gave to CNN news anchor Christina Amanpour, in which she made some comments which have really ignited controversy in the country. I just thought, let me make this video to, if you like, put a few things into their perspective. Now, I really do not care how people live their lives. None of us, nobody is qualified to pass judgment on another person's lifestyle. People have choices, they make their choices, and they live with the consequences. What I have a problem, though, is when somebody tries to make a statement that is going to describe my grandmother or my wife, and make somebody think that women in Ghana have to be a certain way to survive, which is totally not true. At least not for the women I know in my life. That is where I have a problem. And my concern, particularly on the bigger picture, is this. I see some people trying to justify, I was having a back and forth with my cousin who was saying, oh, Christina Amanpour was trying to get a certain angle. I'm sorry, what angle? You see, the thing is this. If you look at the country Ghana, there are many people who are not fully employed yet. We don't even have the data to show whether there are more men or women employed, because most of the women are employed informally when you think of buying and selling and all those things. So we don't even have the data yet. But we have a country which has got serious issues, serious problems. And then we have these journalists come from America, come from CNN, And she thinks that the most important thing concerning Ghanaians is about how women go about surviving. Seriously? But then you should ask yourself, Christine Amanpour is not an ordinary journalist. She's not just going to move from America to Ghana to just come and do any news story. So what is she trying to achieve? And if you're listening to her questioning, she has her, if you like, the bias that she already has in her mind, because she already feels one way about, misogynism, the man, and she already has a perception. So for her, she's got somebody who is almost corroborating. The saving grace is that the hardworking young woman who was working on the nails of this woman said, no, that is not my life. And even when she was asked a very wrong question, because the question was almost preloaded, it was closed, because it was like, do you also do this? Which is almost like a yes or no. And this woman was so clever to say, we have fun, because that is what couples do. Relationships are not supposed to be transactional. I mean, sometimes this is why some women even kick against this feminism concept, because there are genuine reasons why, you see the way some people behave, some men behave, and you think, no, this is wrong. But equally, you see some women behaving pretty badly towards men. So there are problems which must be addressed. So really, the controversy in Ghana for me is not about whether or not she's doing the right thing or not. I really don't care. I am not qualified to make a judgment on another person's life. What I do care about, though, is when people are trying to justify the fact that that is the situation in Ghana. Because just a few things. We, every one of us, are responsible for the choices that we make. There are people who are still living with their parents because what? They cannot afford the accommodation. It happens here in the United Kingdom. There is a lot of data to show that, children are staying with their parents late. Are there women in the UK, in the US, who depend on men for their sustenance? Absolutely. So why should a journalist move from America to come to Ghana to do this? If not to perpetuate the negativity that is already been established about the black man, about black woman, or about Africans in general. Because there are many, many problems, considering the fact that even in Ghana, the cost of internet is far more expensive than when you live in, say, America or in the United Kingdom. And yet we earn more money in the UK than in Ghana. Why is she not talking about those things? Why is she not talking about the fact that, yes, there's corruption which is being aided by the United States? Why is she not even checking the pulse of the people about how they actually feel about the US coming to establish a military base in Ghana? But then we go to ask a question about how women survive economically. She could have gone to the bank, she could have gone to the market. She will see hardworking women working for their lives, for their daily bread. I was raised by an honest, strong, hardworking woman. I wouldn't want some girl who is trying to gain publicity and shortcut to just come and tell all Ghanaian women, including my grandmother, that this is how you have to do to survive. That is not what I know. That is not what I know from the women that I know. So for me, I think people generally should look at the big picture, because one of the things I am now passionate about very much is the mindset. We shouldn't buy into the things that we are told we are. Because the moment we buy into those, then we have already, if you like, helped to seal our doom. There is negativity everywhere. If anybody follows American politics, you can see what goes on in America. You can see who is in leadership. Imagine a Donald Trump leading an African country. What would the newspaper, what would the media in the West be writing about such a leader? Cronyism, corruption, the loans, everything. What would they be writing about? There are some writing, most people are generally silent. So let us not buy into anything that we are told. The young lady made a mistake, but she was tricked by somebody who has a bigger agenda than she could ever understand. And that is what I want the majority of us to understand. Okay, she made a mistake, I get that. People do. But the bigger thing is about What was Christine Amanpour trying to do? Is that what is most important for Ghana? Is that going to help Ghana in any way? And we know the answer. The answer is absolutely not. So we should all begin to look at the world in the way it is and decide on how we, as Ghanaians, as Africans, as black people, are going to tell our own story and decide our own destiny. I need us all to think about this because, things are getting hard, but I believe that we have so much. I go to Ghana and I look around and there are so many opportunities, but we need the right kind of leadership. We need to change our mindset to be able to take advantage, seize the opportunities that are available to us. So this is just what I want to talk about. That let's cut the young lady some slack. She made a mistake, yes. And we can look. Remember, we can look at the big picture of she trying to give a representation of all Ghanaian women, which is no way near accurate. But then we must also look at the perpetrator, the person who came and actually got her into that. Is that the biggest thing that we want to be said about Ghana on the international, news? And the answer is no. So why did she come to do that? And that is what we should find out. My name is Michael Ankara, and I just thought I should do this quick one. Now I can go and take a shower. Thank you, and I shall be with you again soon.